The greatest sci-fi show on TV today, The Expanse, has just come out with season 5 on Amazon Prime. Let's take a look. Amazon just dropped part of the new season 5 of The Expanse. Excellent sci-fi show, probably the best that's out there right now. At the end of season 4, and season 4 was kind of a setup season. A setup season is like nothing in there really important happens in and of itself, but it sets up a lot of the pieces for a more exciting season to come. So we ended up with the crew of the Rocinante. They were all kind of battered. We had Holden and Amos were injured. Naomi also injured. We found out that she can't really go down on planets due to her belter physiology. It's just too much gravity for her. She tried taking meds, didn't work. Alex is a little bit disappointed. He got some messages from Mars, and his wife didn't really seem to want to have anything to do with him. And Bobby Draper, she was the Martian Marine from season 2, season 3. She's on Mars. She can't find work. She more or less gets fired from a dock worker job. She ends up getting in bed with smugglers who are selling off different Martian technology and hardware to various groups that are now going through the gate to these other worlds. In the Belter territory, Ashford dies. We have Marcos, who kills him, and we see that he's setting up either a rebellion or an army of some kind, and he's got this crazy plan. He's going to launch asteroids into the inner part of the solar system. So that's where we pick up with season 5. We start with the Rocinante on Tycho Station. Holden is there with Naomi. The Rocinante's in dry dock. It's got a lot of damage, needs repairs. And one of the more interesting things is they decided to split this up into 5 different parts. Yes, I'm aware that happened in the book, but the show doesn't necessarily have to follow the book exactly. But still, we have seen the crew of the Rossi all together. Now we get to see them individually. So Amos, he goes back to Earth, back to Baltimore, and we find more about his backstory. Seems like he was some kind of forced into prostitution as a child, and then he became muscle and enforcer. He took the name Amos Burton from someone who is dead and used that to get off-world and start a new life. His original name was Timothy. Can't tell if it's his mom or if it was just a lady who took care of him, but someone close to him died, and he goes back to take care of her affairs. We have Alex Kamal. He goes back to Mars, and he's kind of in a 2-part storyline. His wife wants nothing to do with him because he more or less abandoned her 3 years ago. His son, kind of neutral, but not super excited to see that dad's back. And while he's on Mars, he stops in and talks to Bobby Draper. Now, Bobby is currently working for the former head of the UN. She has Bobby secretly trying to set up arms deals. Not to sell arms to lots of people, but she believes that the Martians, or some parts of the Martian military, are selling very sensitive weapons which could be used against Earth. So Bobby Draper is trying to make these sales, and Bobby believes that there's going to be a sale of stealth technology. Alex ends up hooking up with her, and they both start to try to penetrate this ring. They've identified one admiral who may or may not be involved, but if it's not him, it's someone close to him. Then we have Naomi. In season 4, she brings up that she had a son. She feels very bad about abandoning him. They never say exactly why, but she had to get out of there or something. She eventually locates him. Fred Johnson manages to track down where he's going to be. So she goes and she finds the son. She buys the transport ship that she came in on and says, hey, look, this is all for you. You got to leave your dad. Your dad's got a huge bounty on his head, and he's going to be killed. At the end of the 3rd episode, the old crew that she used to run with kidnapped Naomi, put her on the ship that she bought, that her son is commanding, and they fly out to parts unknown. Now, James, left alone by himself because Naomi doesn't want him showing up with her, doesn't want an Earther showing up to this Belter location. He gets a message from the reporter from the last season. The reporter says, hey, there's protomolecule research going on somewhere. He sends him a message. She gets kidnapped. James Holden has it out with Fred about why is there still protomolecule left? Why wasn't it all destroyed? Fred's like, hey, we need it to make sure the belt stays safe until we can build up a navy. So the reporter gets kidnapped. They got to find her. There's a lot of betrayal going on in Tycho Station. Nobody really knows what's what. Interestingly enough, there's kind of a countdown to how long the Rossi will take to get ready. A very cute repair lady with a very strange accent says, hey, it'll take 18 hours to do a great job, 12 hours to do so-so, and 6 hours, and you'll die later. Holden, of course, picks 18, and that's where we end his story. All in all, Season 5 so far is going great. I'm super stoked about the return, except for two things. The first thing is, Amazon, what are you doing? They dropped the first 3 episodes, so you can binge those, but the next episodes 4 through 10, you got to come back every week on Wednesday. Why? We live in a time where we binge things. I want to binge it. I don't want to come back every week. I want to watch the whole thing. This review would have been so much better if it was 10 episodes instead of 3. The other thing that I kind of don't like is just the pacing. So like I mentioned, season 4 was kind of a setup season. Like they're alluding to bigger, more important things story-wise that are coming up. And I kind of want them to start happening. Now, in the first episode, it does start with an observation space station near Venus. It detects these asteroids. An asteroid broke up as it was going near the sun. It broke up into smaller pieces. And as they scanned it, only parts of it were scanning. It turns out that parts of the asteroid were covered in a stealth technology, so the inners wouldn't be able to see them coming. And at the end of episode 3, we see one hit with, I think it was like a 1 kiloton nuclear blast somewhere near Iceland or Sweden or someplace that's very cold. It's cool and it's setting it up, but after 10 whole episodes of this kind of thing last season, I don't really want another several episodes of this happening this season. I think it's very cool to see all the characters' backstories and everything, but I kind of want to, quickly get to something more actiony, a little more meat. Now, it's clear that it seems we are heading to war. Not entirely sure who the war is with. Could be Earth versus the Belters, could be Mars versus the Belters, could be Earth and Mars versus the Belters. Both planets seem a little weak at the moment. Earth has record low unemployment and homelessness because they're shipping a ton of people off planet to all these new worlds. You have Mars, which has high unemployment because nobody really wants to continue the job of terraforming Mars anywhere. They just want to go off-world to where there's already oceans, there's already breathable atmosphere. They don't have to do any work. Laziness, people. It'll get you every time. And the Belters definitely seem a lot more aggressive. Fred Johnson seems to be losing control. Dawson, we still haven't seen him. I assume it's because the actor is off doing other things after season 2 or whenever the last time we saw him was. Hopefully we'll get to see him in the future. It looks like we may have a new faction taking over the belt. Seems like there should be a lot of exciting action coming up a little bit later in the season. First few episodes, they're quite interesting in really making a lot of the plot threads of season 4 gel, but hopefully we get to the meat of the story soon. All right, so The Expanse, season 5, definite watch. If you're into sci-fi, it looks like it's going to be over probably near the end of January. If you like to binge things like me, you could always wait until then. It seems like it's going to be kind of a wasteland after the beginning of January anyways. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. What do you think? Where do you think this season is heading? Click subscribe, and we'll see you back for more Expanse and more Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu, Apple Plus, whatever videos soon.